There are moments that last less than a minute, yet somehow stay in people's minds much longer than carefully planned performances. Not because they are impressive, not because they are flawless, but because they are real. One such moment happened during a live stream that Liu Yuning probably never expected to become a topic of discussion. No dramatic setup, no intention to go viral, just a casual online interaction, the kind he has done countless times before. And then, quietly, something went wrong. He forgot to switch the screen orientation from horizontal to vertical. It was a small mistake, almost insignificant, but what followed was not. Instead of brushing it off, Liu Yuning paused. His expression shifted, not dramatically, but noticeably. A brief moment of awareness passed across his face. Then he smiled lightly, lowered his head, and apologized. Not quickly, not carelessly, but sincerely. His voice slowed down, losing the usual rhythm of a performer addressing an audience. It sounded closer, more personal, as if he were speaking to someone sitting across from him rather than to thousands of viewers. He admitted openly that he was still new to live streaming, that he wasn't very familiar with the equipment yet, and then, with a hint of embarrassment, he added that he hoped everyone would be patient with him and take care of him a little more. There was no attempt to look professional, no attempt to save face, no attempt to turn the situation into a joke. Just honesty. That honesty was what made people stop scrolling. In that brief moment, Liu Yuning didn't look like a celebrity managing an image. He looked like a person who knew he had made a mistake and didn't feel the need to hide it. A man standing in front of many eyes, choosing humility over defense. As the clip spread, comments poured in. Most were amused, many were warm. And among them was one short sentence that could have easily changed the tone of everything. Just pretend, you're acting. It was half a joke, half a doubt. The kind of comment that appears often online, casually questioning sincerity. Liu Yuning saw it. He didn't respond with words. He didn't argue. He didn't explain himself. He smiled. Not a wide, exaggerated smile meant to win favor, but a restrained one, carrying a trace of helplessness, as if acknowledging the comment without letting it define him. And then he moved on. That reaction did more than any explanation could have, because instead of creating suspicion, it created trust. Viewers felt that if this were an act, it would have been louder, sharper, more performative. What they saw instead was quiet acceptance, the kind that doesn't need validation. In an industry where every gesture can be interpreted and misinterpreted, where stars are trained to protect their image at all costs, this kind of response stands out. Not because it is dramatic, but because it is rare. It takes a certain kind of confidence to allow imperfection to be seen. It takes even more to do so without turning it into a strategy. Liu Yuning didn't rush to prove competence. He didn't fear looking inexperienced. He didn't treat the audience as something to be managed. He treated them as equals. One subtle detail made the moment especially memorable. After apologizing, he didn't laugh loudly to dissolve the awkwardness. He didn't rush forward to distract everyone. He stayed exactly where he was, letting the moment exist, letting the mistake be acknowledged. That balance is difficult to maintain, between self-deprecation and self-respect, between humility and dignity. Many artists cross that line without noticing. Liu Yuning didn't. And that is why the clip traveled so far. Not because it was funny, but because it felt familiar. People didn't laugh at him. They recognized themselves in him. Everyone has struggled with something they weren't good at. Everyone has felt exposed in front of others. Everyone has hoped to be met with patience instead of judgment. In that short live stream moment, Liu Yuning closed the gap between stage and audience, not by stepping down, but by letting people see that he had never fully left the ground. Those 30 seconds passed quickly, but the impression lingered, and it led many to ask a deeper question. Why does Liu Yuning, despite being in such a demanding and unforgiving entertainment industry, continue to feel so approachable? Part of the answer lies in his sense of humor, but not the kind that demands attention. There is a fine line between being humorous and trying to entertain at all costs. Liu Yuning's humor is quiet. It doesn't come from punchlines or exaggerated reactions. It comes from self-awareness. When he admitted he wasn't good with the equipment, he wasn't turning weakness into a spectacle. He was acknowledging reality and allowing it to pass without resistance. That choice alone sets him apart. In Chinese show business, where professionalism is often equated with perfection, many artists are afraid of being seen as lacking, afraid of being judged, afraid of losing credibility, afraid that one small moment will overshadow years of effort. Liu Yuning understands those fears. He simply doesn't let them control him. He doesn't use humor to deflect responsibility. He uses it to soften situations while keeping respect intact, for the audience and for himself. That is why people feel comfortable watching him. There is no tension in waiting for him to slip. He doesn't pretend he never will. Behind that ease is a solid inner foundation. Liu Yuning didn't begin his career under spotlights. His path was slow, uneven, and grounded in reality. He experienced uncertainty long before recognition arrived. That background shaped his understanding of success. He knows that fame can rise suddenly, but it can disappear just as fast. What remains is character. That belief is visible in how he carries himself. Even after becoming well-known, he doesn't treat attention as something he deserves by default. He is accustomed to doubt. He is familiar with being underestimated. He is used to proving himself step by step. That is why a skeptical comment doesn't shake him, and why a technical mistake doesn't embarrass him into silence. His calmness is not detachment. It is security. That security became especially evident in 2025. While the livestream moment showed a relatable side of Liu Yuning, the year itself highlighted his professional growth. His voice continued to be one of the most trusted choices for drama soundtracks, recognized for its depth, warmth, and emotional weight. Viewers associated his singing with pivotal scenes, with longing, with unspoken emotion. In acting, his progress was equally noticeable. His performances showed more restraint, more internal focus. He no longer relied solely on presence or tone. He learned to let silence speak, to let emotion build naturally rather than be displayed. There was no need for loud promotion, no need for sudden reinvention, just steady movement forward. By the end of the year, Liu Yuning had secured something more valuable than momentary attention. He had earned quiet recognition, the kind that doesn't trend loudly, but lasts. And that brings the story back to the live stream. Because people don't remember Liu Yuning for never making mistakes. They remember him for how he handles them, for the way he allows imperfection without apology beyond what is necessary, for the way he remains kind, even when questioned. In a world that often rewards performance over sincerity, Liu Yuning's strength lies in his refusal to pretend he has nothing to learn. That is what people see. That is what they remember. And that is why, sometimes, the smallest moments say the most.